Corporation of America, or RCA, the television was a great success.
It helped shape our future and open us to a new world of communication, education, science, navigation, the arts, and entertainment.
Philo was born on August 19, 1906 in Beaver, Utah, and he soon moved to Idaho with his grandfather, where he found science magazines in his attic and electrified his entire home and farm.
Mr. Tolman?
Another A+. Exemplary work. Philo, you're by far the best student I've ever had in this class.
Mr. Tolman, I've been thinking about, well, it's a device. Can I show you my sketch? Basically, a coating of cesium oxide, which is a photosensitive material, gives off electrons when photons hit it. If we can take a coating of cesium oxide and put it in a specialized tube, then...
Whoa. Hold your horses, young man. What exactly are you trying to convey here?
An electronic television, sir. See? With this invention, there'll soon be a time where we can see and hear people in other lands. If we understood them better, differences could be settled around conference tables without going to war.
Amazing. Well, how did you get this idea?
I was plowing potatoes and I realized that the plowing tool was making parallel lines through the mud. This reminded me of electrons. If we can control electrons and make them go into parallel rows, we can create an image on the screen.
I will be happy to support you with your ideas. I believe this drawing can change the whole way we look at things, maybe even the world. Sadly, Philo Farnsworth's father had soon passed away, so Philo dropped out of college to be the man of the house.
He met benefactors George Everson and Leslie, or Les Gorel, from California, who offered funding for his research.
Within 3 days, he married Elma Penn Gardner, and he set up a small lab in Hollywood. They later moved to San Francisco after receiving more funding from Crocker Bank. Elma and her brother helped Philo in the lab with glass blowing, welding, and drawing.
Hey, Cliff, get the glass lab with a line on it. Put it in front of the image dissector. Oh my gosh, it's working! Wait, turn it a quarter turn. That's it, folks! There you've got electronic television! We've done it!
Well, I'll be damned! And that is how Farnsworth invented the electronic television. He filed a patent for his image dissector tube in 1927 and held a press conference in September 1928.
In October 1929, the stock market crashed, and there was intense pressure from Crocker Bank to find a buyer for Philo's invention. Farnsworth reached out to Vladimir Zworykin, thinking he was working for Westinghouse Electric Corporation.
Farnsworth planned to sell Westinghouse a license for his television. Instead, Zworykin was secretly working for the RCA, or David Sarnoff, head of the RCA. Zworykin's plan was to take notes on Philo's image dissector tube and then report back to the RCA so they can build a television on their own.
Good afternoon, Mr. Zworykin, sir. Here is my image dissector.
That is a very fine instrument you have there. I wish I'd invented it myself. Have you filed your patents yet?
Yes, sir. My patent is right here.
That's very interesting, sir. Well, thank you for your time. Let's see that now.
Zworykin then went to RCA and attempted to rebuild Philo's model, but was unsuccessful.
Shortly after, David Sarnoff, head of RCA, tried to investigate Philo's lab on his own. Good afternoon, Mr. Everson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Stark. My boss, Philo, is in Washington at the moment, you see, but I will be glad to show...
I'm very impressed by this, but I can see here there's nothing the RCA will. Goodbye.
After meeting with George Everson in 1931, Sarnoff offered an insulting only $100,000 for Philo's invention and a job at the RCA, so Philo refused. He then engaged in what would end up being a 10-year patent battle with RCA. Farnsworth then moved to Philadelphia, where Philco was funding his research and bought the first license from Philo.
Sadly, the next year, Philo's young baby, Kenny, died of strychnine, and Philo couldn't even attend his son's funeral because of Philco's pressure to work. Soon after that, though, he started his own company, and in 1934, he first demonstrated his television at the Franklin Institute. There, he broadcasted performers, athletes, politicians, and pointed his camera to the moon at night.
In 1935, Farnsworth and his high school teacher, Professor Tolman, proved through his high school notebooks he had the original idea for the image dissector tube, whereas Zworykin had none. He was then awarded priority of invention for the patent battle.
In 1939, RCA officially conceded and signed an agreement to pay Philo $1 million in license fees, but they actually never paid royalties.
During this time, Philo started his own company called the Farnsworth Television and Radio Corporation in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
The RCA first broadcasted demonstrated television to the world at the 1939 World's Fair in New York. There, David Sarnoff declared, "And now we had sight to sound." They broadcasted President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, many performers, and demonstrated how the television worked.
The world then believed RCA invented the television. Philo was forgotten, while RCA mass-produced televisions.
World War II soon interfered with the television business. The government made it mandatory for all technological laboratories to use their resources for more important things, such as radar and military equipment.
After the war, Philo was able to sell televisions for only 2 more years, before his patents expired in 1947. Then RCA and many other corporations sold televisions to the public, taking credit for all of Farnsworth's work. "My invention was meant to be a marvelous teaching tool," Philo explains. "Television is a gift of God, and God will hold those who utilize his divine instrument accountable to him."
Due to the long RCA battle and the war, Philo became very depressed, resorted to alcohol for relief, and his overall health suffered. He and Alma moved to Maine, where Philo gave up on television completely and began to research nuclear fusion. In 1949, the Farnsworth TV and Radio Company went bankrupt and was sold to International Telephone and Telegraph, or ITT. Philo continued his work on nuclear fusion before he and Alma moved back to Utah, where Philo died in 1971 of pneumonia in Salt Lake City, Utah, in obscurity and bankruptcy.
Alma was determined to keep Philo's legacy alive. She organized many interviews and even wrote a book about their story.
As a result, Philo has earned many awards after he died. His plaques, statues, his own postage stamp, and is featured in many science-related halls of fame. He was inducted into the Inventors Hall of Fame in 1984 and to the Television Academy Hall of Fame in 2013.
Philo holds over 300 U.S. and foreign patents in television, medicine, wood treatment, aerospace and defense, and nuclear fusion. Farnsworth always dreamed of traveling to space, but the closest he's ever became was watching the Apollo 11 mission in July 20th, 1969. I can tell you why the picture is as good as it is. They're using a miniature version of my image sector to broadcast the moon landing.
Your image sector still gives the best details to the picture because of its red scan operation.
This will be the first big step. If all goes well, there'll be no holding us. The natural curiosity of man will take us out one planet at a time until we break from our own solar system into the universe beyond. I wanted so much to be a part of this exploration.